So hello everyone, lovely to see you online again, and I'm glad that you are able to participate live with us during these classes. Of course, a lot of people actually view the video later. I know that because I get lots of questions from people in different countries, and I'm always very happy to answer the questions, whether it be in texts or by phone, or actually addressing them in or during the classes, as you know, which is what I've been doing recently. So right now, of course, we're on to the commentary on the universal love, or the Buddha's teachings on universal love and kindness, or the Metta, Karunya Metta Sutta. And today we will do the second part of the overview. We've covered the morality part, which I'll reiterate slightly with today, or on today, and then also the meditation and wisdom part of the sutra. And then from next week, we'll start to dissect it. And the first verse, predominantly about morality, I'll get into every little specific detail and explain that, and maybe finish it next week or the week after, I'm not too sure. Depends how many details. And also related to some questions, if they're related to the subject, I will address them as well. So now we can do the chanting, recitation of the Buddhist verses. Do so mindfully, aware, conscientious. Remember, it is the mind that we are absorbing with the Dharma when we're utilizing our body and our speech while we chant. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Tatayampi Buddham saranam gacchami. Tatayampi Dhammam saranam gacchami. Tatayampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from their happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, about to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, about to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, about to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, about to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayataum gate gate para samgate bodhi soha. Tayataum gate gate para samgate bodhi soha. Tayataum gate gate para samgate bodhi soha. So now we can spend some time meditating. 3 types of meditation: meditating to release the tension from the body and mind, and also the breath meditation to develop our concentration and insight as well, and loving kindness meditation to develop loving kindness, but also to develop insight as well. That's why I add towards the end there the infinite space. It kind of is representative of the wisdom of emptiness. So as we engage in these practices of meditation, what we are doing is allowing ourselves the opportunity to be moral, to be able to concentrate one-pointedly eventually, to develop insight and wisdom, and be more compassionate and kind. And of course, all of the other good qualities. And at the same time, purifying our mind from the mental afflictions. So now forget everything I just said, and let's practice the meditations. So gently close your eyes. The tongue resting on the upper palate in your mouth. Your lips gently touching. Breathing in your nose, all the way into your lungs, and then back out your nose again. Keep your posture nice and relaxed without being lazy. Of course, it's important to be very comfortable too. Once we finish this preliminary part, which is releasing the tension from the body, then try to keep your body still. Especially, it should be quite easy for you now because they're very short meditations during these Zoom classes. So even if you have a feeling to scratch an itch or move your legs, move your head, resist the temptation for this short period and replace your mind back onto your breath. So now we will release the tension from the body. During this releasing of this tension, you can release on the out breath, or you can just do it with your mind first. If you find that difficult, then release it. Like take a deep in breath and then release it on the long out breath. Or you can manipulate the body, stretching it a little, moving it a little. So now release the tension from the tips of your toes, all the way up your body to your shoulders, down to the tips of your fingers, and then to the top of your head. So let's take a few moments to do this now. And when this is complete, scan your body again, just to see if there's any more residue or leftover tension that you can release. Now bring your mind to your breath. Place your mind on the feeling of the breath as you breathe in your nose all the way into your lungs and then back out again. That's all you have to do right now, is breathe and focus on the breath. If you choose to do so, you can also use the extra technique of counting the breaths. 1 in breath, 1 out breath, that's 1, so on and so forth. But don't count past 10. And if your mind if you become distracted on the way to counting to 10, stop there and go back to 1 at that time. If any thoughts arise, don't cling to them. Don't grasp at them. Don't forcefully try to push them away or deny them. And likewise, if any other mental activity is happening in your mind, whether it's feelings, emotions, and the like, don't cling to them. Don't grasp at them. Don't try to force them away, and don't deny them. Instead, replace your mind back onto the breath and let them go naturally. Also, if your mind starts to become dull and sleepy, then wake it up a little bit by refocusing on your breath more brightly. This way, replacing your mind back onto your breath is the antidote for both the agitated and distracted mind, as well as the dull mind. So let's practice like this in silence for a few minutes. So now we can feel very pleased with ourselves for engaging in this short session, and fill yourself with universal loving kindness. This can be utilizing the feeling, mental feeling of loving kindness, friendliness, and the like. Or you can also use the visualization technique of filling yourself with white light or white nectar. And as we radiate it out in a few moments, you can also use the light or the nectar as well. Or just the feeling. It's fine. So fill yourself with this universal loving kindness, friendliness, non-violence, non-aggression, acceptance, forgiveness, honesty. Fill yourself with so much loving kindness that it now overflows and radiates outwards, initially to your loved ones, family and friends, and fills them with universal loving kindness as well. May they be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. Now also include those you may regard as strangers. So our loved ones are the beings we have attachment towards. Strangers we have indifference towards. So now fill them with universal loving kindness and wish that they be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. And also include those that you have an aversion towards, may even regard as enemies. May they also be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. May all of these living beings, these people, specifically the ones you have attachment towards, the ones you're indifferent towards, and the ones you have an aversion towards, may they all be happy and have the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And may they be peaceful. And now we will gradually radiate this loving kindness out distance-wise, further and further. Now to also include all of those living beings around your immediate area. Whether they live on the land or in the waters, fly through the air, whether they were born from wombs or eggs or moisture or through transformation. May they all be happy and peaceful. Now radiate this loving kindness out throughout your whole state or county. And other states and counties throughout your whole country. And other countries throughout the whole world. Initially, those you have attachment towards, nice feeling, some sort of affinity towards or for. Maybe you've been there, or maybe you've read about them, seen them on TV. Also those countries that you are indifferent towards, and even those countries that you may have some sort of negative feelings towards, until your loving kindness pervades this whole planet. May all of the living beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And may peace pervade everywhere. May your loving kindness pervade this whole solar system. and other solar systems throughout the galaxy, and other galaxies throughout the whole universe, until your loving kindness pervades throughout infinite space without limit. This immeasurable loving kindness that is generated in your own mind. At this time, we can remember that we are not separate from all of infinite space and all of the living beings that abide within this infinite space. We are all interconnected and interdependent, empty of independence and separateness. Whilst at the same time, we will be present here and now and recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious bodhicitta not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of shunyata not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And somebody asked me, or sent me a question, messenger, was saying that they wanted to know where the dedication prayer comes from, what tradition, because they themselves had not heard these words and they'd really liked them. So I let them know it's Tibetan tradition. The translation that we speak, or that we chant, is by one of my teachers, Geshe Chultem Geltsen. So Geshe-la means like a doctorate, like professor or a doctor of Buddhism, okay, in the Gelugpa Tibetan tradition. He was a wonderful Lama, you know. So anyway, wonderful guru, as well as his teacher, Lati Rinpoche, or Kyabche Lama Lati Rinpoche. And so, so this was the words basically that he used throughout all of his teachings, or at the end of all of his teachings. And I think I may have changed a word or two, but no meaning has been changed. And so I just thought I'd share with you that. Okay, so that's, I don't know if the person, obviously the person who asked the question would be looking at the video later. I think they're in the USA. And so, no, in fact, I know they're in the USA, they're in California, somewhere, I think up northern California. And so they will, I told them that I will chant it in Tibetan during the next class. Okay, so I don't normally do this these days. I tend to do it more in English. So hopefully I get the pronunciation right. Sanso senso rinpoche, makipana ange chichi, kipanyam ba me bata, gonne gondo belwa shu. Tonne tawa rinpoche, makipana ange chichi, kipanyam ba me bata, gonne gondo belwa shu. So there we are. So you can have a look at the video again, and if you're interested, and you can check the words out. Rinpoche, by the way, sometimes it's a title given to, you know, great teachers, reincarnation teachers. They've been teaching many, many lifetimes. It means precious, though. When you translate it directly, it means precious. So it means precious teacher or precious Lama. The word Lama, Ma means qualities, mental qualities, and La means high. So high mental qualities, basically. And it's the word they use to translate the word guru, or even the word acharya, okay, which means teacher, or, you know, spiritual guide, spiritual teacher, and so forth. So so Rinpoche, but we use that in the prayer there. It's precious. May the precious bodhicitta, not Janshu Chimsho Rinpoche. May the precious bodhicitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And then Tonne Tawa Rinpoche, which means may the precious view of shunyata, or the wisdom of emptiness, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. Okay, so maybe if you're interested, you can have a look at that. It's a good language to learn the Dharma with. It's a long history. Of course, the best language is the language we speak primarily. So in English for us, that's the best one. But to refer to the words from the other traditions, especially the Sanskrit and Pali, the root languages, that all the other translations have come from. But if you're involved, for instance, in the Chinese Chan tradition or Pure Land tradition, then to utilize and learn the classical Chinese phrases and words that are used for the Dharma, it's very helpful. And likewise with the Tibetan, likewise with the Japanese, and so on and so forth. It's always good to have some knowledge of where these translations into English came from, because the translations into English have only been, it's really the last bunch of decades, isn't it? There were translations before that, maybe a couple of hundred years, or I'm not too sure how far back, but it's only been probably since the 60s and 70s where we've had a lot of translation of the Dharma teachings into English. And so it's quite new, even though I think we've formulated it quite well in recent times for most traditions. Though I must say that there have been times over the my journey, if you could call it that I've seen some really ordinary translations. So hopefully there's not too many of them now, or if there are, then there can be some people to edit them and make it better grammar and so forth. Okay, so we can talk now about, like I said, an overview of the whole sutra, which we did a bit of last week. So the morality part of the sutra, I'll just remind you, is the first verse. This is the work for those who are skilled and peaceful, who seek the good. May they be able and upright, honest to gentle speech and not proud. May they be content and easily supported, unburdened with their senses calmed. May they be wise and not arrogant, and without desire for the possessions of others. May they do nothing mean, or that the wise will reprove. And then, of course, the next part is the meditation part. May all sentient beings be happy. May they live in safety and joy. All sentient beings, whether weak or strong, great or small, short or tall, seen or unseen, near or distant, born or to be born, may they all be happy. Let no one deceive or despise another being in any state. Let none by anger or hatred wish harm upon another. Just as a mother would protect her only child with her life, even so let one cultivate a boundless love towards all sentient beings. Let one radiate that boundless love towards the entire world, above, below, and in all directions, without hindrance, without ill will, without enmity. And then the part that relates predominantly to insight or wisdom, standing or walking, sitting or lying down during all one's waking hours, let one remain mindful of this heart and this way of living that is the best in the world, unattached to speculations, views, and sense desires. May such a person will never be reborn in the cycles of suffering. I think that's what the last bit said. With clear vision, such a person will never be reborn in the cycles of suffering. And in the song, I put forever free and happy, as I mentioned last week. Okay, so basically we spoke about morality, but I'll just reiterate this, that if we don't live morally, then our minds will be full of, even though we don't, even if it's so thick that you don't even recognize it, our minds will be full of guilt, full of regret, full of remorse, and become more clouded and clouded over time. The ignorance will thicken over time. And when we practice morality, we have nothing to feel bad about. So the mind starts to become clearer. Kind of like if you're holding a container and you shake it up, the water starts to get bubbles and all sorts of, maybe there's some sediments in the water, and the water becomes very unclear and you can't see through it. But if your mind is very calm, that you live morally, you don't feel bad about stuff, then of course with the meditation practice, the water there becomes very still and you can see through it clearly. Just like the mind, you can perceive things more clearly as you go along the path in accord with reality. And so to develop this genuine loving kindness and all of the other good qualities, such as compassion and so forth, we need to be moral. Morality is like the foundation of a house, like I've mentioned many times. Without the strong foundation, the walls and the ceiling come tumbling down. So we need to practice morality to be able to develop this loving kindness. That's why the Buddha mentions it first in the sutra, and also the reason why he mentions it first when he talks about the 3 higher trainings of morality, meditation, and wisdom. Okay, so important that we have it. It's indispensable. It's absolutely needed. So often, we can think as human beings, we can kind of have our mind, you could say, almost filled with universal love and kindness at moments or during moments. But this is fragmented. It's not always like this. What we're looking to do is absorb our mind with this, so that this not only is an antidote for hatred and anger and so forth, but actually becomes this, what we call immeasurable. And just like compassion and empathy and also equanimity. We want it to be like that, but without morality, we can't do that. We may get feelings of love and kindness and even convince ourselves that we are loving and kind, when actually we're more emotional. Maybe we get upset when some creature dies or something. We think that's love and kindness, but actually that's attachment and emotions, as well as some part of love and kindness. But we're looking to develop this beyond measure. So we must be moral. So that's the first part I wanted to reiterate. And of course, once again, we talk about meditation. The more that we're able to develop the concentration that is, at least for some period of time, free from distraction, the more we're able to then place it on an object to work out what that object is. Phenomena, mental phenomena, our thoughts, our mind, physical phenomena such as our bodies, other beings, and all other physical phenomena throughout the known universe and beyond. And so, but also the more that we're able to focus on a good quality, such as this loving kindness that we want to develop, the more we're able to then absorb our mind with this loving kindness, because we can concentrate on that for longer periods of time. So it's really important that we do develop this concentration and then utilize this concentration to absorb our mind with this universal loving kindness. And of course, utilizing the words spoken by the Buddha at that time, as well as other similar teachings that he gave, or the masters have given throughout the history, and the Dharma teachers of today also give. So we're able to then utilize all of these good words, these good methods that are being taught, and then utilize them to absorb the mind with this universal loving kindness. And of course, we're going to do that in the coming weeks and have a look at all of the different details. Like I said earlier, dissect every little bit of the sutra. It's such a short sutra, especially this body part, the teaching part is quite short, so we can dissect it, and it won't take too long. And so that's that bit, and also insight or wisdom. We need to develop the wisdom. Of course, we don't have the perfection of wisdom right now, but we can utilize our ability to investigate and analyze, contemplate, think about things, reflect upon things with a mind that is as clear as possible, and what we have right now. We have to utilize what we have right now to develop genuine insight eventually let's think about this universal love and kindness. What is it? You can think about it as an antidote, as mentioned, antidote for hatred, dislike, and anger, aversion. But also you can realize, yes, it is possible for me to develop this immeasurable beyond measure. It is possible for me to unite this loving kindness and compassion and equanimity, or based on equanimity. And of course, the empathetic joy, and all of the other good qualities that are related. It is possible for me to do this. And then, of course, with this insight and with the great effort that we will make, then whether we're standing, walking, sitting, or lying down, there's 4 postures that kind of cover everything, cover all postures. Doesn't matter what we are doing, we're going to be loving and kind. We're going to be compassionate. We're going to, first of all, be moral, so we don't disturb our mind, stop our mind from being able to develop this loving kindness. And then we utilize our concentration to be able to absorb the mind with this loving kindness. And then, eventually all of our actions are based on this loving kindness, but there's no speculation, any views, opinions, all of these things we purify with the wisdom. And then, what's the word that was used before? With clear vision. So that's an expression of wisdom. So once we develop this wisdom, and of course marry it with this loving kindness and compassion, the other good qualities, the merit, the virtue, then we're on our way to becoming enlightened. Okay? So I know that's just 1 minute is flashed by. So now it says less than 1 minute. I'm glad I caught it, because that means I've got probably about 50 seconds still. So once again, I invite you to ask me some questions in relation to this. But once again, I say that we're going to dissect it and really going to find little details. Of course, this subject is universal loving kindness, but this is not separate from other subjects, so I may mention a few other things as well. Okay, so make sure you look after yourself, both physically and mentally, and try your best to be a good influence on those around you. If you find that your attachment to some beings and some things is too much, decrease it. If you are a little bit too indifferent, don't care, then start to care, start to be